Discover the incredible moment a single mom texted a billionaire for help. What was revealed changed everything. Kelly sat on her worn couch, the evening sun casting long shadows that danced in her cluttered living room. A soft whimper echoed from the kitchen. Her youngest, Ella, had dropped her favorite toy again. While Kelly had dealt with countless tantrums and scraped knees, this one felt different. This was another reminder of the weight on her shoulders. At 34, with 2 young kids and an eviction notice gathering dust on the coffee table, the pressure suffocated her dreams of a stable life filled with laughter, love, and possibilities for her children. The pandemic had ripped away her job and left her scrambling. Bills mounted like the laundry piled high in the corner. No amount of wiping tables or folding clothes could shore up her dwindling savings. She felt like a desperate swimmer, fighting against a tide that pushed her further from the shore of stability. On this evening, amidst thoughts of eviction and hunger, her phone buzzed. An ad flashed on screen, an invitation to a charity gala hosted by Jason Hartman, a billionaire known for his generosity but also for the distance it seemed to create between him and folks like her. With shaky hands, she began drafting a text. What did she have to lose? She poured her heart into the message. Each word felt like a release. I lost my job. I'm terrified of not being able to provide for my kids. Her chest tightened with each keystroke, a mix of hope and fear swirling within. It was a bold move that could see her face humiliation or grasp a lifeline. Sending it felt like dropping a stone into a deep abyss. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the minutes passed, Kelly stared at her phone, mesmerized by the little dot that indicated someone was typing back. Jason, at the gala, read her words, staring down at his lavishly expensive suit. The bubble of his world burst. She needed help. Incredibly, he replied. Their correspondence turned from one of charity into deep reflections on the division of wealth. Each chat echoed through the neighborhood, as whispers replaced amusement about the affluent man responding to a single mom's plea. Then the storm hit, fierce and unforgiving. Trees toppled, roofing was torn from homes, and Kelly's apartment took a beating. As she huddled with her children, fear wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. But surprise after surprise unfolded. Jason stepped in, rallying support and supplies like a modern-day knight. Watching her neighborhood band together, Kelly felt a warm rush, pride ignited in her heart. She seized the moment. Her plight had electrified a community she thought had overlooked her, but just as Kelly felt emboldened, a call interrupted her resolve. Her estranged father's number lit up the screen, a memory of past pain flooding back. Would she let him back into her life or hold on to old wounds? Her heart raced, uncertainty flooding her mind, as tension built. Would his attempt at reconciliation unravel everything she fought to build? The answer hung in the air, thick with possibility, leaving her on the brink of an emotional decision. Kelly's fingers trembled as she stared at the screen. Her father's name felt like a ghost from another life, a haunting memory of hurt and disappointment. She recalled the shattered promises, the moments when she needed him but found emptiness instead. He had left, seeking his own happiness, while she was left to pick up the pieces. Was this call his effort to make amends, or merely a selfish distraction from his troubles? Mommy. Ella's small voice broke through the fog of her thoughts, pulling her back into the present. Kelly forced herself to breathe. She glanced at her daughters, their innocent faces lit up with trust and love, and she knew she had to make a choice. Would she risk exposing them to the pain of the past, or would she fend off the shadows alone? Taking a deep breath, she swiped to answer. Hello? Kelly? The voice was gravelly, familiar yet foreign. It's Dad. Why are you calling? She struggled to keep the snap out of her tone, but it was impossible. All those years of silence, and he thought it was okay to just show up like this? I know I haven't been there for you, for any of you, and I'm sorry. I just... I'm not here to make excuses. I need your help. She felt a flicker of anger mixed with disbelief. Help? You? After all this time? I'm not asking for much, he continued, his voice steady but tinged with desperation. I'm in a tough spot. Things have been hard. I thought maybe you could understand. Understand? She cut in. You abandoned us. How could you even think I'd want anything to do with you? The words slipped out, raw and stinging, but she let them fall. It felt good to lay out the truth, to confront him. In those few seconds, the weight of resentment bubbled to the surface. As much as she hated the pain, part of her longed for the reconciliation she never received. A silence fell. Then he breathed out quietly, I understand why you're angry. I'm trying to make it right, but I can't do it alone. Kelly's heart did a strange flip. Could she really help him after everything? Familiar doubts wrestled with the urge to extend an olive branch. At that moment, her phone buzzed again. Jason's name flashed on the screen, a stark contrast to the emotional turmoil she was facing. Dad, I have to go, she finally said, her throat tightening. I can't deal with this right now. Maybe we'll talk later. Without waiting for a reply, she hung up, feeling torn. She glanced at the text from Jason, which read, I'm here if you need me, Kelly. Just say the word. This text felt like a lifeline, an assurance that she wasn't alone in the chaos. But the question loomed over her, could she really open herself up to his world? Or would she be inviting more disruption into her already fragile life? A wave of uncertainty washed over her. Every ounce of her wanted to connect, to embrace the opportunity Jason had unwittingly extended. Yet, her father's voice lingered in her mind, a haunting reminder that not everyone deserved a second chance. Her mind raced back to her daughters, feeling their small arms wrap around her legs as they peered up at her, eyes filled with trust. How could she find the balance between healing her heart and protecting them? Lightning crackled in the distance, a reminder of the storm still raging outside. It was as if the universe itself was echoing the tumult within. Kelly's heart raced. Would she reach out to Jason and take a leap into the unknown, or would she confront her past and meet her father? The weight of both decisions pressed heavily on her chest. The storm didn't just rage outside, it raged inside too. And as she sat there cradled in indecision, she realized, one choice might change everything, but which path would she dare to tread? Kelly sat in silence, the weight of the world pressing down. Ella tugged at her skirt, drawing her attention with those wide, trusting eyes. A memory flickered in Kelly's mind, the last time her father had seen them, how small the girls were then, and how invisible she had felt as he turned his back on family. Mommy, are we okay? Ella's voice broke into her thoughts, soft and innocent. Yes, sweetheart. We're fine, Kelly lied, forcing a smile. Ella's brows knitted together, but she didn't push further. Instead, she returned to playing on the floor with her little sister, Amy. Kelly couldn't shake the feeling that she was teetering on a precipice. Moments with her daughters meant everything to her. They were her world. Frustration flared within her. How could her father expect her to simply forgive? To turn back time? She glanced at her phone. What would happen if she reached out to Jason? The thought should have scared her more, but there was something compelling about him. Confidence ran through his messages like a thread of warmth, urging her to believe in more than her struggles. Just as she was about to make a decision, a sudden crash of thunder rattled the windows, causing the girls to squeal in delight rather than fear. Kelly felt a pang at the contrast. They saw adventure where she saw chaos. They were so young, so innocent, with so much life ahead of them. Maybe this could be the chance for a fresh start, for all of them. The storm outside couldn't dim their laughter. Ella, can you help me with something? Kelly called, her voice steadier now. Sure. Ella bounced over, her little hands outstretched as if she were ready to take on the world. Kelly grabbed her phone, heart pounding. Can you help Mommy find the rainbow? Ella's eyes sparkled. Yes. The one after the rain? Exactly. Kelly felt a flicker of hope. Maybe facing the storm wasn't so terrifying when she had her daughters beside her. As they flipped through photos on Kelly's phone, memories flooded back: Ella's first steps, the girls' birthdays filled with laughter. And there, in the corner of the screen, was a photo Jason had sent her earlier, a simple image of his dog, tongue agape, looking playful and happy. It was a moment of warmth she hadn't expected to need today. The urge to reach out to him surged within her. What if connecting with Jason could help her begin to heal both herself and her daughters? Before she could second-guess herself, she texted him back, "Hey, I could use some support. Could we talk?" Ella squealed in delight, and Amy clapped her hands, sensing the shift in energy. Unbeknownst to them, this small move could open a door into something new for their family. Then her phone buzzed. Jason's quick reply made her heart race. "Of course. I'm here for you. Anytime." A mix of relief and anticipation washed over her. Suddenly, her phone rang again, cutting through her elation. This time it was her mother's number, the one person she hadn't expected to hear from. "Kelly, honey. You need to come home," her mother's voice trembled through the line. "What? Why?" Confusion gripped Kelly. "I found your father. He's really in trouble this time." The world seemed to tilt. The choices she thought were clear now swirled into a storm of uncertainty. What awaited her if she stepped towards either path? One decision could lead to healing or, perhaps, deeper wounds. "Mom," Kelly breathed, heart racing. "What is going on?" Her mother's voice wavered on the other end, carrying the weight of panic. And amid the thunder and the echoed laughter of her daughters, Kelly understood one undeniable truth: she was about to face far more than she ever anticipated. Would she walk into the storm or embrace the rainbow that hovered just out of reach? Kelly's heart pounded in her chest as her mother's words hung in the air. "He's in the hospital, Kelly. It's serious." The laughing faces of her daughters suddenly faded away, replaced by a stark reality that felt as heavy as the storm raging outside. She gripped her phone tighter, feeling a mix of anxiety and dread take root. "Are the girls with you? Can they come? I might need help," her mother continued, her voice full of urgency. "No. I mean, yes, they're here. But Mom, I haven't spoken to him in years. I don't even know what I would say." The memories of past hurts flooded her mind: the way he had left, how alone she had felt stepping into a future that felt uncertain. "They need to see their grandfather, Kelly. It might be their last chance." With those words, a wave of guilt crashed over her. Could she really deny her daughters that connection, that chance to know who he was? But the mere thought of spending time in that hospital, facing the man who had caused her so much pain, sent chills racing down her spine. "Mom, please, sweetheart. Just come home." The call ended with a soft click, leaving Kelly in a whirlwind of emotions. She took a deep breath, turning her gaze to the girls, who were now busily building a fortress of pillows and blankets on the living room floor. Their laughter pierced through her gloom like a dart of light. She found solace in their innocence, even as doubts crept back in. "Ella, honey," Kelly began, her voice shaking slightly. "How would you feel about visiting Grandma and Grandpa?" Ella's face lit up, bouncing with excitement. "Can we see the puppies? I want to play with the puppies." "Puppies?" Amy squealed, clapping her hands. A smile crept onto Kelly's face despite herself. "Yes, there might be puppies." The hope in her daughters' voices tugged at her heart. Maybe they could plant new memories inside a place that had felt so strained and broken. But just as her resolve began to solidify, another thought broke through. Jason. He had offered support, a listening ear, and now it felt crucial more than ever. She hesitated, staring at his message that lingered on her screen. The thought of confiding in him, of sharing the chaos that was her family, both terrified and excited her. Less than 3 months ago, I never imagined I'd even text him, she mused, half lost in her own emotions. "Mommy. Come help." Ella called again, her voice ringing with laughter. Kelly had a choice, to turn inward or to embrace the chaos. Okay, okay. Kelly replied, shaking herself from her daze. She stepped towards the pillow fortress and plopped down in the center with them, feeling the warmth of their joy envelop her. Maybe that was how it started, with laughter amidst uncertainty. As they built their makeshift castle, feeling like queens in their own tiny kingdom, Kelly's mind raced between the past and the road ahead. "Mommy, can we wear crowns?" Ella asked playfully, her creativity spilling over. "Of course. We are queens," Amy shouted, her face lighting up with mischief. Kelly couldn't help but laugh at their adorable antics. They were taking her out of her worries, if only for a moment. But the thought of the hospital loomed over her, pulling her down again. Just then, Ella reached for her mom's phone. Her little fingers accidentally brushed against the screen, pulling up Jason's message again. "You should show him the puppies too," she chirped innocently. Kelly's heart raced. Could she really involve him in her family's chaos? What if she reached out now, right before facing the storm? Would revealing her struggles mean inviting him deeper into her life? Could he give her strength, or would it just complicate everything? The laughter of her daughters melded with the thunder outside, and for the first time today, Kelly felt an unexpected clarity. It was a crossroads. Could she find courage amid the chaos? Kelly held her breath, her finger hovering over the screen. The perfect rainbow after the storm felt closer than ever. What would she choose next? Would she send a simple message and draw Jason into this whirlwind, or would she brave the storm alone? It was a moment of truth that could shape everything. Kelly's breath caught as she weighed her options, the digital screen glowing brightly in the dim light of the living room. It felt like the weight of her decision was pressing down on her shoulders. Her daughters continued to chatter about crowns and puppies, their voices pure and carefree, but the turmoil inside her was anything but innocent. Could she really text Jason? A man she barely knew, yet who had shown kindness without any pretense. A man whose presence had sparked a flicker of hope during one of her darkest times. She bit her lip, hesitating, contemplating the uncharted territory that awaited her. Ella pulled at her arm, snapping her back to the moment. "Mommy, please. Can we have crowns?" The little girl's excitement was contagious. A lump rose in Kelly's throat as she forced herself to smile. "Of course, my little queens," she exclaimed. The giggles of her daughters filled the room, wrapping her in warmth, nudging her to forget the chaos that lay ahead, even if just for a moment. Yet, she couldn't silence the inner voice urging her to take a chance. Kelly stole another glance at her phone, the message still blinking at her, almost beckoning. When had she been so afraid of reaching out? Life had already shown her how quickly everything could fall apart. This could arguably be one of those moments. Jason had made her feel seen, and maybe in this uncertainty, he could help her navigate through even more darkness. Deciding against her fears, Kelly tapped on Jason's name, her heart racing as she opened the chat. The blinking cursor seemed to drum the beat of her anxious heart. What could she say? Should she share her worries or simply ask for help? Before she could overthink it too much, she began typing. "Hey, Jason. I know this is sudden, but I could really use someone to talk to. It's about family. Would you be around?" She pressed send before she could change her mind, her pulse quickening as she awaited a response. The laughter of her girls continued, spilling over with their games. Yet beneath it lay an undertone of tension, as if everyone in the room could feel the invisible storm forming. What felt like an eternity passed before her phone vibrated. She picked it up, uncertainty flooding her again. What if he didn't respond the way she hoped? What if he didn't want to get involved? "Of course, I'm here for you. When do you need me?" His words were short but somehow comforting. Kelly smiled despite the turmoil swirling in her stomach. Her heart swelled with a mix of relief and apprehension. It was a step. A small yet significant step towards facing what awaited her, the storm out there, and the emotional storm looming in her life. "Tomorrow. If that works for you," she replied, her fingers trembling slightly. "Absolutely. Just let me know when and where," he responded almost instantly, and she found that the slight chill of uncertainty lessened, even if just a little. As she tucked the phone away, her daughters clamored for snacks and water, dragging her back into the realm of motherhood. Kelly moved to the kitchen, but her mind was still simmering with thoughts of the hospital and her estranged father. Would she really be able to face him, even with Jason by her side? Slicing apples, she focused on the rhythm of the knife against the cutting board. The sense of fresh fruit mingled with the soft laughter of her daughters. For each apple she cut, she wondered if she could peel away the layers of hurt she had carried with her for so long. Could this trip be the moment she stood unapologetically for herself and her girls? The question lingered in the air, but it wasn't just uncertainty anymore. There was a hint of hope, a spark that bloomed in her chest, urging her to believe that maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. As she placed the apple slices on the plate for her eager daughters, another shimmer of excitement coursed through her. She had taken that leap, and it felt surprisingly liberating. But the thought of the hospital still loomed, and as she turned to check on the girls, another question popped into her mind: how would her father react to her coming back after all these years? That was a mountain to climb too. For now, the clouds were still parting, and she could feel a new dawn breaking. Before she knew it, tomorrow would bring its own challenges and maybe even answers. How prepared could she be? Or would it all unravel in front of her? The following morning, sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, brightening the room and casting a warm glow on the small breakfast table. Kelly moved through her morning ritual with an unusual sense of urgency. Her heart raced as she set down bowls of cereal for her daughters, Ella's blinding enthusiasm fueling her own desire for stability. "Have you decided what time we're going to the hospital?" Ella asked between bites, her innocence a reminder of what was at stake. Kelly paused, the spoon clinking against the bowl as she struggled to find an answer that wouldn't reveal her internal chaos. "Soon, sweetheart. After your dad, after breakfast, we'll get ready," she replied, forcing a calmness into her voice that she didn't feel. Moments like these reminded her of the delicate balance of motherhood. She hoped her love would shield her girls from the burdens she carried. But today felt different, dread intertwined with faint hope, pushing her to consider the possibilities ahead. Once breakfast was finished, she sent Jason a quick message to confirm their meetup. "Hey. Could we do 3 p.m.? I could really use your support." The words left her fingers with an unexpected sense of finality, as if they sealed a pact with a stranger to guide her through a personal quagmire. "We're on," Jason replied almost immediately. "Just text me the address when you're ready," and with that, Kelly felt a flicker of reassurance wash over her. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad after all. As the hours ticked by, Kelly's mind darted between memories of her father, his laughter, his stern looks, and the hurt that had kept them apart for so long. She had replayed their last argument countless times, trapped in an emotional cycle that felt impossible to break. Ella and Mia played dress-up while Kelly paced in the living room, anxiety churning in her stomach. She caught snippets of their imaginative stories, drenched in wonder, and felt both guilty and motivated. They deserved a better legacy, one that wasn't shackled by the shadows of the past. Her phone vibrated, snapping her out of her thoughts. It was Jason. "Hey, do you need a ride? I can pick you up." The offer was simple, but it filled her with a sense of camaraderie. Kelly's heart fluttered. Could this be the start of opening up her world again? "No, I think I'll drive." "Just let me know when you're close," she replied, her fingers trembling as she sent the text. The thought of him meeting her daughters ignited a small flame of worry. Would he understand this life of chaotic love? The clock inched towards 3 p.m., the moments stretching unbearably long. She dressed carefully, slipping into a familiar pair of jeans and a soft sweater that hugged her body. It felt like armor, giving her the strength she wanted to project. When the time to leave arrived, the girls were still buzzing, unaware of the emotional tiger that awaited them. Kelly took a deep breath, summoning all the courage she could muster. "Okay, girls. Time to get in the car," she called out, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Mia looked up, her little brows furrowing in curiosity. "Are we going to see Grandpa?" The term hit her like a wave, so innocuous yet loaded. Kelly smiled through the rush of emotions. "We might, honey. Let us see how it goes." Driving to the hospital, every red light felt like an eternity. She kept glancing at the rearview mirror, catching glimpses of her girls playing with their toys, their naive laughter mingling with her swirling doubts. As they approached, a sense of foreboding slipped into her heart. What if he didn't want to see her? What if all this effort was for nothing? When they finally parked, she parked the car, but her heart skipped a beat. "Mommy, is everything okay?" Ella asked, sensing the change in her tone. With a hint of uncertainty, Kelly locked eyes with her oldest daughter and squeezed her hands reassuringly. "Everything's going to be just fine," she said, but even as she spoke, doubt crept in. Then, her phone buzzed again, a text from Jason. "I'm outside. I'm here." Just as she looked up, a figure stepped forward from the entrance of the hospital, and her heart raced anew. Was this the moment her past would collide with her present? Would they face each other, old hurts laid bare, or would it all come crashing down? The door opened, and Jason stepped inside, ready to walk alongside her into an emotional storm. What would they find waiting for them in those sterile hallways? Kelly took a moment to collect herself, breathing deeply as she stepped out of the car. The scent of antiseptic hung heavily in the air as she led her daughters through the sliding glass doors. She glanced sideways at Jason, whose calm demeanor somehow soothed her tight chest. "Let us go," Jason said, his voice a gentle guide as they moved toward the reception desk. Kelly felt a jolt of strength surge through her, bolstered by the knowledge that he was there. "Are you okay, Mommy?" Mia asked, her small hand clinging tightly to Kelly's sleeve. Kelly knelt down to her daughter's level, her heart swelling. "I'm okay, sweetheart. Just a little nervous, you know." Mia nodded, offering a bright smile that instantly melted the tension in Kelly's heart. "Do you think we'll see Grandpa?" Ella chimed in, her innocent curiosity bringing a flicker of warmth to Kelly's heart. "If he wants to see us, yes," she answered carefully, the twist of reality pressing upon her mind like a heavy blanket. Was she ready to open that door? After checking in, they were guided toward the waiting area, filled with the soft hum of conversations and the beeping of machines. As they settled into their seats, Kelly combed her fingers through her hair, the familiar gesture pulling her focus back in. "Want to hear a silly story?" Jason asked, leaning toward the girls with a grin. Ella's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, and for a brief moment, Kelly felt the heaviness lift. As Jason spun his tale one of brave kittens on an epic adventure, her daughters laughed, losing themselves in fantasy. It was beautiful. And yet, as much as she tried to stay present, the weight of the moment lingered, masking her thoughts with 1,000 uncertainties. It felt like an eternity before a nurse finally appeared, her clipboard held tightly under one arm. "Is Kelly here?" The moment her name echoed in the sterile air, Kelly's heart pounded against her ribcage. She shot upright, adrenaline flooding her veins. "That's me. Your father is asking for you," the nurse said, her gaze steady but filled with empathy. "You can go in now. Just be mindful of the emotional circumstances." With that, the small bubble of comfort that had enveloped her burst, leaving her exposed to the daunting path ahead. The nurse gestured toward the door, and all eyes were on her now. Kelly exchanged a quick glance with Jason, his steady smile anchoring her nerves momentarily. "You'll be just fine," he whispered, and she nodded, holding the affirmation like a shield. "Let us go, girls," Kelly said, trying to exude confidence. But every step felt laborious, like lifting heavy weights. Pushing the door open, she found herself standing before a frail figure lying in a hospital bed. Her father looked vastly different from her memories. The robust man who carried her on his shoulders was now a mere shadow of himself, his skin pale against the stark white sheets. "Dad," she breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. The weight of their unresolved past pressed down on her heavily. He turned his head slightly, surprise etching across his features as he met her gaze. "Kelly?" "Yeah. It's me." Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes, a mixture of relief and fear flooding her heart. Would they be able to communicate the things left unsaid? Would she even know where to begin? The atmosphere shifted, the air heavy with years and lost time. "You brought the girls?" He attempted to sit up, but she could see the struggle in his frail frame. Yes, I did. They're right here. She motioned toward Ella and Mia, who stood frozen by the doorway, taking in the moment with wide eyes. Come closer, he urged, his voice rough yet warm. How did they bridge the gap of silence that had grown over the years? With Jason at her side and her daughters watching silently, was this the moment they rebuilt what had been broken? The silence hummed thickly, the unresolved emotions swirling around them. What had she hoped to find here? Could she forgive, or would the past continue to loom like a storm cloud? The moment felt suspended, and her heart braced itself for what was to come. Next. Would this visit shatter the walls they built, or would they remain trapped in their own regrets and misunderstandings? As she stepped closer, Kelly felt her heart clench. The sight of her father, so frail and vulnerable, pulled at the threads of love and resentment she had woven over the years. She swallowed hard, pushing past the knot in her throat. Daddy, it's been a long time, she managed to say, her voice trembling. Too long, he replied, his voice raspy but filled with a strange warmth that sent a shiver down her spine. It had been years since they last shared a space, years since their conversations had been deepened by honesty instead of silence. Ella took a deep breath and stepped forward, curiosity sparkling in her eyes. Are you Grandpa? She asked, her innocence cutting through the heaviness in the room. Yes, I am, he said, a soft smile breaking through his illness. And who might you be? I'm Ella. And this is my sister, Mia. Ella beamed, her grip tight on Mia's hand. Mia peered shyly from behind her sister, wide-eyed and quiet. Wow, you two are beautiful, he said, his voice brightening, as if the life in him surged at the sight of his granddaughters. I've missed so much. The words fell heavy between them, soaked in unspoken apologies. Kelly stepped closer, feeling the warmth surfacing in her. We brought you some pictures, she said, her voice stronger now as she reached into her purse. She pulled out a few family snapshots. This is us at the beach last summer. And here she pointed to a picture of the girls digging in the sand. Look at how much fun we had. His gaze softened, trailing over each image. You all look so happy. Not all the time, Kelly admitted, the words slipping out before she could stop herself. The truth hung in the air, painful yet freeing. It's been hard, for all of us. You know that, right? His eyes dropped to the photos before looking back at her, heavy with regret. I know. I'm sorry I wasn't there. Sorry doesn't really cut it, she breathed out, each word slicing deep. You could have reached out. You could have tried. But you didn't. And now I know, he interrupted, his voice tinged with desperation. I've been a coward. But I want to change that. I want to be part of your lives again. If you'll let me. Mia, visibly uncertain, tugged on Kelly's sleeve. Mommy, can we still go to the park afterward? Of course, sweetie, Kelly replied, grateful for the innocent distraction. But she knew that, for her, the park was a world away from the storm reporting in this room. It was hard to focus on the joy outside when they were faced with so many shadows inside. Can you tell us stories, Grandpa? Ella asked, her voice soft but eager. Her father brightened, the corners of his mouth lifting despite the strain of his voice. Oh, I've got stories for you. Some about the old days when I was a kid. And the time I met a bear. A cautious laugh bubbled up from Kelly, surprised at how light her heart felt just from hearing him speak about adventures. Was that the beginning of a new chapter? She exchanged glances with Jason, who was standing quietly by, his eyes filled with understanding. He nodded slightly, as if encouraging her to take this leap. To allow her father back into their lives, to inch towards reconciliation, but as Kelly found herself lost in the possibilities of a future with her father, the doubts began circling again like wary shadows. What was it going to cost? Maybe she started, hesitating as emotions twisted inside her. Maybe we can make this work. But you need to show us you are serious. I want to talk more, to understand what happened. Why did you leave? His eyes widened at her question. There was fear, regret, but also a faint glimmer of hope. I'll tell you everything, he said, his sincerity palpable, but you need to know that I can't change the past. I can only work on the future. The tension crackled as his admission evaporated the air in the room, but Kelly found herself barely holding on to her hope. Would this really be the path to healing, or was she merely trading one pain for another? As her heart raced, she realized there was a decision to be made. Do they dare to reconnect despite the remnants of hurt? Outside the window, storm clouds gathered, mirroring the uncertainty looming over them. The past fought to keep them separated, yet perhaps today was a turning point. What new revelations awaited them in this fragile moment? Would they finally be brave enough to uncover the truth behind their fractured connection? Kelly's heart was a battlefield, torn between hope and hurt. The air hung thick with a mixture of unresolved issues and tentative reconnection. Ella's innocent laughter had momentarily lifted the weight, but the heaviness soon returned. Tell us a story, Grandpa. Ella urged, bouncing on her feet, the picture of youthful excitement. Her father's face lit up, the light in his eyes rekindling slowly. All right, let me think. He paused, closing his eyes, as if searching through a dusty chest of memories. Once, when I was a boy, I found myself face to face with a bear. Ella's mouth dropped open, while Mia leaned in, her curiosity piqued despite her usual shyness. Were you scared? Mia whispered, her voice small. A little, he admitted, chuckling softly. But mostly, I was amazed. It was massive and so powerful. I realized at that moment that I could either freeze in fear or take a step back and observe, and that's what I did. Kelly couldn't help but watch him, captivated by the way his voice filled the room with life. Here was a man who had once been a sturdy figure in her life, reduced now but still capable of storytelling magic. Yet, as much as she wanted to revel in this moment, she couldn't overlook the fact that he had walked away from her when she needed him most. Daddy, she took a deep breath, ignoring the flicker of irritation that stirred within her. Can you really change? Can you be different this time? His smile faltered, and for a moment, shadows softened his eyes. I hope so, Kelly. I want to be. But I know it's a lot to ask. Trust is earned, not freely given, she replied, steadying her gaze on him. I understand, he said, nodding. And I don't expect miracles overnight. Just a chance to prove myself. Mia tugged at Kelly's sleeve again. Can we come see him again, Mommy? I like Grandpa. Her heart tightened. It was one thing for her to navigate this new path, but quite another to subject her daughters to the uncertainty of it all. It might take time, sweetie, she said gently. We'll see how it goes. That's fair, her father agreed quickly, relief washing over his features. I just want to be part of your lives if you'll let me. Time stood still as Kelly weighed her decision. She wanted to protect her girls, but a tiny flicker of hope ignited within her. What if this was the start of something new? Well, let us start with more stories, she said, unwillingly smiling despite herself. And maybe we can work toward meeting again. As they shared laughter and tales from the past, the storm clouds outside threatened to burst. But inside, there was warmth. Ella stretched out beside her grandpa, wide-eyed and full of imagination, while Mia caught snippets of stories that sparked joy. But was sharing stories enough? Something deeper lurked beneath the surface, something she wasn't sure she was ready to confront. What else do you want to tell us, Grandpa? Ella chirped, grinning. Suddenly Kelly's phone buzzed. The unexpected sound shook her back to reality. Who could it be? She glanced at her screen and found a text from Jason. How are you holding up? Her heartbeat quickened. The question forced her to evaluate the paradox of feeling lighter yet heavier all at once. I need to take this, she murmured, stepping away to read. As her fingers hovered over the screen, uncertainty chased her. What if this wasn't just a moment, but the beginning of something more complex and challenging? Would she discover the strength to embrace this new chapter, or would she fall back into the safety of distance? The storm outside was no longer just a weather forecast, it mirrored the turmoil brewing in her heart. Would it clear away, or sweep through, leaving chaos in its wake? As Kelly walked away to take Jason's call, she felt the weight of the past dance around her. The soft hum of her daughter's giggles trailed behind, pulling her back into the warmth of their presence even as uncertainty threatened to grip her heart. She held the phone close to her ear and took a steadying breath. "Hey, Kelly. How's it going?" Jason's voice was a steady beacon amid the storm of emotions. "It's okay, I guess." She leaned against the cool wall, the fabric of her fears still clinging tight. "I'm in the room with my dad. It's much harder than I thought it would be. Do you want me to come in?" His offer was filled with genuine concern, and she could almost see the warmth in his eyes through the phone. "No, I can do this," she replied, strength seeping into her words. "But can you stay on the line?" It was a small request, but it made her feel anchored. She knew she needed Jason's support as much as she needed to face her father. "Of course," he said with a softness that reminded her how essential this connection had become in her life. Through the phone, she heard laughter and joy, and she could feel that flicker of hope again. She glanced back toward the hospital room. Suddenly, amidst the backdrop of old resentment and new uncertainties, she recognized that the love she had cultivated for her daughters was undeniable and worth fighting for. Taking a deep breath, she returned, grounding herself in the moment. "Are you okay?" Ella's innocent voice rang out as she approached, her eyes wide, waiting for her mother. "I'm okay, sweets. Just taking a moment." She crouched beside her girls. "What stories did Grandpa tell you?" "We heard about the bear," Ella exclaimed, her smile lighting up the room. "And how he was brave," Mia chimed in, her tiny fists making imaginary bear claws in the air. The warmth in Kelly's chest deepened. Here, in this simple moment, she could feel the tides shifting. Perhaps her father didn't need to be defined by his mistakes. After all, people were capable of change, just as she was learning each day as a mother. She turned back to her father, who was watching, his eyes softening more with each laugh from the girls. "Dad," she said, finding her voice stronger now, "I want to try to see where we can go from here. But I need to hear you. I need to know you really want to make things right." Her father's lips quivered in a gentle nod. "I do. I promise to try." Ella raced over to him, clutching her drawing from the day before. "I made you this," she announced, basking in the sudden attention, like a flower unfurling under the sun. "It's a rainbow. So you can remember to be happy." Caught off guard, Kelly felt a tear slip down her cheek. Her little girls had a way of seeing the world differently. Her father accepted the drawing, his expression a mix of pride and remorse. It felt like the ice was truly beginning to crack. "Thank you, Ella. It means a lot," he said, tracing the colors with trembling fingers. "And I want to see your rainbows every day, if you'll have me." "Of course." The enthusiasm in Ella's voice echoed through the room, sprinkling hope like fairy dust at that moment. Kelly realized something profound. Restoration would come with time, but the foundation for rebuilding their connection started here, today in this room. "Let us have a picnic next week," Kelly suggested, her voice filled with new commitment. "I'll bring the sandwiches, and you tell us more stories." The agreement hung in the air, rich with possibilities. Would they gracefully dance on this path to healing, or would they stumble and fall? The answer wasn't clear yet, but for today, hope was enough. Outside, lightning flashed, but within those hospital walls, a gentle rainbow began to form as laughter swirled around them. As she glanced once more at Jason's supportive message lingering on her screen, she felt a warmth fill her with gratitude. Life was unpredictable but full of chance, and each moment she embraced opened new avenues for love. It was a moment pregnant with potential. As she exchanged smiles with her daughters and her father, a sense of peace wrapped around them like a cozy blanket, shielding against the uncertainties of what lay ahead. Today, at least, they would be together. In this shared laughter and tentative hope, Kelly saw the promise of tomorrow, a day not defined by pain but colored with resilience and healing. This was their journey. This was the beginning of reshaping their stories. And as the storm began to settle outside, it was clear, they would all learn to embrace the rainbows after it, one step at a time. Now, before you move on from this moment, You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire change and growth. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help more people find these life-changing tales. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this emotional ending. What did it mean to you? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand how important it is to support our community through these actions.